Are you ready to learn the real meaning of your nightmare?
I mean, yeah, Lauren. I mean, that's kind of why I came down here today. I want you to tell me all about my dream.
I think there was a wish, maybe to become pregnant.
Wait. Say that again?
It represents the wish for pregnancy.
Like, you do know I'm a guy, right? Like guys just can't get, like, I can't get pregnant. Lauren, I can't get pregnant. Like, that's not, you can't just tell everybody that comes down here that they're gonna become pregnant. Like, you're a dream expert? This is what you do?
Yeah.
All right, fuck this, I'm done. Shut the cameras off, end the show. No, I'm not gonna have my time fucking wasted. Nuh-uh, goodbye. There's been many great TV shows that have aired over the years. Breaking Bad, Walking Dead, Dexter, Mad Men, and Game of Thrones are just a few of the many great TV shows that have just dominated and overtaken television throughout their runtimes over the years, and mostly over the last decade. It's easy to talk about the great TV shows because everybody loves them and there's so much great content to unpack over the multiple seasons which these shows have ran. But then there's the other side of the spectrum, a TV show so unbelievably and historically awful that you just can't help but watch as it derails from the tracks and absolutely wrecks. But even shows like these, such as Mountain Monsters and The Nut Shack, are still, to some degree, entertaining to watch in their awfulness, and, you know, they still create some sort of buzz about them. Either way, having a show at both ends of the spectrum will get people talking about your show and will leave a footprint in the history of television in people's minds. And then there's the outlier, the rarity, the show that's so bland and boring that it creates absolutely no buzz whatsoever and gets barely anybody, almost nobody, even talking about it. This show is Celebrity Nightmares Decoded.
Nightmares expose the truth, whether you want to know it or not.
Nightmare.
Celebrity Nightmares Decoded was originally released in 2010 or 2011. I can't actually find out which one it was, so we're gonna say 2010 and a half, and was originally released on the FYI channel, which is also known as the Bio channel, and ran for 3 seasons long. Except these weren't a normal 3 seasons. These 3 seasons were odd in the fact that the last 2 seasons only comprised of 1 episode each. The majority of the show, which I will be talking about today, is in the first 3 episodes of the 4-episode long season 1. That's right, only 4 episodes long was season 1. These 3 episodes of season 1 were hosted by professional nightmare decoder Lauren Lawrence. Yes, she's one of those people whose parents hated her and made her first name almost exactly the same as her last name. I can't comment on Lauren's work and books outside of the show because I haven't seen any of it, but on Celebrity Nightmares Decoded, she's one of the most uncharismatic and forgettable television hosts I've ever seen. This must have been noticed by the show's producers as well, because when season 4 hit, she was no longer the host of the show anymore. That's right, she lasted 3 episodes and didn't even see the end of the first season. Hosting a show isn't all about personality though, especially with this type of show. For her, what matters most is her analysis of dreams, because that's what she does. She's a dream analysis expert. But even here, she even comes off as scatterbrained or basic sometimes, giving out blanket statements and looking like one of those psychics you'd find at a freaking boardwalk.
The next symbol is building a house, which means that there is a strong desire to construct.
You don't say!
Whether this is at her fault or at the fault of the producers, you know, giving her direction, it's nonetheless at the detriment of the show overall. I could certainly talk all day about the many problems happening with this show, but I think it's better if I show you. Today, we're gonna break down episode 2 of season 1 as, to me, it best represents the absolute hilarity in the show and the many problems that come along with it. So here we go. Get your pee bottles and strap yourselves in. We're gonna review Celebrity Nightmares Decoded. The first celebrity we're going to watch Lauren decode is this guy, Jeremy Jackson. I have no idea who he is.
I'm with my little sister. Suddenly, there was water right in front of us. As she was reaching into the water, she fell in.
Okay, sister fell in the water. Pretty panic-inducing, I'm with you.
So I jumped in the water with my clothes on.
Jump in the water with your clothes on? It's your dream, dude. You can get butt-ass naked as much as you want.
I'm frantically searching for her, swimming through this water, but I knew I was running out of breath and I couldn't last down there forever.
Yes, you can last down there forever. It's a fucking dream, my guy. You can literally manufacture a mermaid, fuck her brains out, get her pregnant, have little mermaid children, and then use that the millions of mermaid children you just had to take over the world in some freaking mermaid apocalypse. You can do anything in a dream.
She has needles in her everywhere. She seemed drugged. She was like a walking zombie. Then I noticed in the house these huge men. They had no face from here down.
Okay, this part is pretty terrifying. I would be horrified if I woke up from a dream like this. And honestly, out of all of like the nightmares that I saw throughout the show, this one to me feels like the most random and the most like a dream. Like dreams are very fluid. You don't always remember everything so crystal clear. And there's a lot of stuff that happens in dreams that is blurry or doesn't make sense. And I think the way that they recreated this dream in the production best represents that. Whereas the other celebrities do say stuff that is nonsensical and very supernatural and like wouldn't make sense for real life, they portray it in the recreations in a way that mimics reality, and that doesn't make sense to, interpret dreams. To me, this is taking the most interesting part of the show and making it just bland and like not really utilizing its true potential.
As I try to pull her out of the house, her head falls off of her body.
Damn, Jeremy, I thought my dreams were fucked up. Okay, the analysis. This is the funniest part of the episodes because we get to see the ridiculous interpretations that Lauren takes on the dreams that the celebrities describe. Real talk though, after this episode, tell me if you've heard of any of these celebrities and if they're even close to the limelight anymore. Like if you're gonna bring celebrities onto a show, you need to get people that people are gonna wanna watch. I've never heard of these people.
Your sister falls into the dark water.
What does the water mean? That you need to piss? Because when I have dreams of water, I always wake up feeling like I have to piss.
Water is a symbol for consciousness. Dark water where you can't see represents a murkiness in life.
No, it's just consciousness. Never mind, I guess that makes sense.
A half-faced person can represent deception because they're only showing you part of their face.
Okay, I want you to remember this symbol before we go into our official analysis part, okay? Remember, she said that the half-faced people represented deception, and that's all she said. Also, the show does something kind of funny and also like just boring where they do this dramatic cut for suspense like all other shows do, and then they will just like show this random dream fact when they come back from a commercial, and it's usually pretty uninteresting and boring.
In April 1865, Abraham Lincoln dreamt that he entered the East Room of the White House and found soldiers guarding a corpse. When he asked who had died, he was told the president. 3 days later, Lincoln was shot dead at Ford's Theater.
And I don't know why they do it, because Lauren doesn't make it seem interesting at all, because, she's Lauren Lawrence and doesn't have a personality.
On one level, your dream is a rescue fantasy, and what that means is that you want to rescue yourself.
This kind of quest of finding my true self over the past few years has been happening more and more.
Oh my God, the stars are aligning. She was right about him wanting to find himself, as if that's not a super generic thing to say at all. Personally, I think the rescue fantasy thing kind of makes sense, but I feel like it goes deeper than that, as it's not just him that he's saving in the dream. He sees multiple members of his family, so I think it kind of extends beyond himself. But hey, what do I know? I'm not a dream expert. So take it away, Lauren.
On yet another level, it is a separation anxiety dream, which is very common in young men that grow up in households without fathers. So there is a difficulty in leaving your mother.
Okay, props to Lauren here. This does kind of make sense. I could see how being detached from your family would make you have dreams where you feel like you want to save them. But the funny thing is, she has good moments like this, and then she'll have the very next thing she interprets will be completely ridiculous and out of left field. So let's add to that.
And that has to do with your mother's head. You want to separate from your mother, so that's why you see her literally separated.
Holy Lord, that's horrible. Your brain couldn't think of a more subtle or less violent way to tell you that? Damn, Jeremy, you got issues, brother.
Actually, after I had the dream, I moved to LA.
The dream was giving you that permission.
Yeah.
Your mother is saying it's okay, go.
So here she says the dream is giving him permission to move, but if that was the case, like, wouldn't his mom's head come off completely to, like, symbolize letting go or something? God, I hate that I'm entertaining the idea of that, but I'm just saying. It's just a dream, folks. I'm not a serial killer or anything.
On another level, it's an ancient memory of the birth event.
I had like a really traumatic birth. I came out upside down backwards with my umbilical cord wrapped around my neck, and like tons of doctors were trying for like an hour to suck me out, and I was born gray, like not breathing.
Oh my God, that is a traumatic birth. That's like the worst birth you can have. Low-key though, I bet someone like at a party heard his story and like tried to one-up it or something, like, oh yeah, well my twin tried to eat me while I was coming out of the womb, and I had 3 umbilical cords around my neck, and I was doing 360s out of the womb, and I came out looking purple all over my body, and ghosts tried to possess me in a plane crash in the hospital. You know those kind of people who are just, everything's always about them, and they go to every party and just suck the life out of every party that they ever go to? Those people?
The large men whose faces are half covered could easily be the doctors and the nurses.
Okay, boom! Right there. Notice how the half-faced people before were supposed to symbolize deception? Now she's completely changed what they symbolize after hearing his own personal story. This is something Lauren does anytime that she gets the backstory from someone whose dream she's decoding, is she'll always like flip her story 180 degrees and flip the analysis when she gets a different kind of info. But that makes sense because dreams are based off of our own personal realities and experiences. So why would they have an analysis where she just gives blanket statements and then have the celebrities give her backstory? Shouldn't she be asking them about their backstory before just saying like, oh, you know, not having a face represents deception? Also, how could doctors and nurses represent deception anyways? Like, how does that even connect in this universe at all? Okay, so we spent quite a bit of time here on Jeremy. I think you got the point. There's flaws in her analysis. She did a complete 180 degree flip with the doctors and nurses and like the half-faced people. She does that multiple times throughout the show. You could see what I'm talking about with the uncharismatic and the non-personality type of thing. But let's move on to a female celebrity. This next celebrity we're gonna talk about is Carney Wilson, who, yeah, I still have no idea who she is.
My nightmare begins with me on an airplane.
Oh God, an airplane dream? Guys, one thing about me is one of my biggest fears is the fear of flying. So you can imagine how many dreams I've had about flying and frickin' planes crashing.
In my peripheral vision, I could see that the windows were black. They were dark. It was dark clouds outside.
Wow, this sounds a lot like my flight from Los Angeles to Round Rock, Texas, which caused me to have about 2 panic attacks a week.
Very next thing I knew, I was alone in the cockpit. I've got my hands on the wheel. It's so hard to steer. It feels so like stiff and nothing looks familiar.
Well, I'd imagine nothing looks familiar in the cockpit because 1, it's a dream, and 2, you're not a pilot, Carney.
And then all of a sudden it was like the Wizard of Oz. We popped into Technicolor. And I came down and there was the runway right in front of me and we landed.
Wait, you landed? What the hell? That's not a nightmare. Nightmares are supposed to end with like extremely open-ended cliffhangers like the end of a Dragon Ball Z episode.
Next time on Dragon Ball Z.
I am pregnant. And it is Jesus.
Okay, here we go. The analysis. What do we got here, Lauren?
Flying dreams are a cross-cultural phenomenon. People from all countries and backgrounds have them.
Couldn't that be said for like any dream? I didn't know that you had to be a certain culture to have a certain dream. Didn't know that was a thing.
First of all, the symbol of a plane means the wish to lift yourself up.
Or Or you could be like me and have a bad dream about flying simply because you're afraid of flying. Like, there doesn't have to be a deeper meaning to every single dream that you have. I literally can't tell you how many times I've had a dream about being in the universe of a TV show simply because earlier that day, I had watched a few episodes of the show and it was just fresh in my mind.
The symbol of piloting the plane really represents your wish for control. And it gives you the sense that you are in the driver's seat.
Really? Because I can't even describe the amount of terror that goes into my dreams when I happen to be flying in a plane. And I crash like basically every single time.
So, Corny, are you ready to learn the real meaning of your nightmare?
Lauren does this all the time, and it just gets funnier every single time. Like, it's always, do you want to know the meaning of your nightmare? Like, they just be like, no. And just walk off like, isn't that the point of them being there?
Your dog is lying by your feet when suddenly he starts to whine and twitch. Could he be dreaming? He probably is. All mammals dream while asleep.
God, I'm sorry, but she just has no personality when it comes to doing TV. It can't just be me. Like, these line reads are unbearable. And I think this goes to show why she didn't even last the first season.
This is a dream of self-empowerment because you are the one that's taking control back of your life.
Okay, so far so good, Lauren.
Flesh is considered good, and no flesh is considered bad.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I wasn't a skeleton in the dream.
And I think there was a wish maybe to become pregnant.
What? Lauren, how do you get that from skeletons? Where is the correlation here? Like, some of the other symbols, I could see how the interpretation fits, but here it just doesn't fit at all. This is just something that Lauren does all the time when she's talking to a female celebrity, is she'll just take any symbol and just tell them they want to be pregnant. Like, oh, a symbol, boom, yeah, you just pregnant. You just want to be pregnant. Yeah, that'll be $100, please. Get moving, $100, that'll be all.
The symbol of a skeleton and a bone is that on one level, there's a wish to go beneath, to see what's beneath the surface. The symbol of flesh, okay, is a symbol of being protected, being insulated.
Honestly, a fit to the skeleton people that would make a lot more sense, that would actually, like, I could see a correlation, is if like the skin melting off your bones exposes your skeleton, which like is a symbolic to vulnerability, and when you're in a plane in the air, you're just somewhat vulnerable, you're just floating in the atmosphere. Like, that would make a lot more sense. See, I'm not an expert on dream analysis, and I just came up with that in what, 30 seconds, just thinking out of my head, off the cuff. See, Lauren? Believe it or not, there's other people out there that can think of something better than, oh, yep, just pregnant, just want to be pregnant. Lauren also has to understand that dreams are sort of based off like our own personal lives and personal experiences. Like, yes, there are symbols in dreams that could mean something, but you have to apply that to a person's, personal experiences in life to find the true meaning. Like, you can't just be like, oh, you saw hills in your dream and they look like baby bumps, so yeah, you want to be pregnant. It comes off as ridiculous because she's not taking into account what significance that those hills could have, relating to that person specifically. And it is true that, like, after her, like, initial analysis, she does sometimes, if, like, the person will, like, give her some information about, like, a past experience, she will then take that into account, which, makes sense. But the problem is she's already dished out her blanket statements that sound ridiculous, so it feels like she's backpedaling or going 180 degrees, into a completely different direction to make herself, look like not stupid.
On some level, there was a sadness over a loss of self because you had lost all the weight and you kind of liked the way you were. That was you.
Wait a sec, did Lauren just low-key tell this girl that she wants to be fat again? All right, that's enough for Carney. The beautiful work of Lauren Lawrence, just telling women they want to be pregnant no matter what kind of dream they have. Let's move on to the second woman in this episode, Adrienne Ballion. I haven't heard of any of these people.
My nightmare begins with me walking into a dressing room. It's time to get dressed for the show. We're told that we only have a certain amount of time, like 45 minutes. The eyelashes are not sticking, the eyelashes are not curling. And I think it's so frustrating for me in the nightmare because I'm like, I know how to do this.
Damn, Adrian, that really sounds like a girl's worst nightmare. But real talk though, these types of dreams are ones that like I go through and a lot of people go through all the time. Like where you're trying to do something like and everything in your dream is causing you to not be able to do it. It's super frustrating. And I can kind of liken these to dreams I've had where it's, you know, I'm trying to run away from something and it feels like I have cinder blocks touched to my legs and I can't run fast enough no matter how much I try.
For some reason, while getting dressed, I can't find the jewelry that goes with my outfit. I go to search for it in my purse and I'm literally pulling out a bag of cashews.
I love how specifically she remembers them like they're cashews. Like they could have been any type of nuts, pecan, walnuts, nutsack. Nope, cashews. We're going with cashews.
Just when I'm about to almost get it together, my teeth fall out.
Damn, that's a rough one. I've had a dream kind of like this with like teeth falling out. I wonder what Lauren's gonna say about this. Probably that like teeth falling out means you want to be pregnant or something.
So, Adrian, the nightmare that you just described to me is an actor's nightmare.
Wait, no shit, it was an actor's nightmare. She's literally backstage getting ready for a show. What else could the nightmare be about?
The first symbol is hair. It represents power, and limp hair represents powerlessness.
What about a limp dick? Too far? Sorry.
The symbol of a woman's bag
Represents a womb.
is always representative of the woman's identity.
Oh, damn. Got me there. Good one, Lauren. Thought I had you on that one.
The mirror is a symbol of self-reflection, also sometimes self-critical.
Wow, Lauren, I don't think she really needed you to tell her that one. A mirror represents self-reflection? I'm sorry, but like, she's a dream expert? How can you get more obvious and blanket statement than that?
Well, it was a performance anxiety dream.
Okay, honestly, I have no idea why Adrian even came on the show. Like, I feel like this is a pretty self-explanatory, like, dream. Like, she could stop the whole thing right there, which is, oh, it's a performance anxiety dream. That's all Lauren needed to say. But she's gonna go on for like 5 more minutes and tell her why eating a bag of spinach means she wants to become pregnant.
Your teeth falling out has another meaning. When your teeth are falling out in a dream for women, it represents the wish, you ready? The wish for pregnancy.
What? How does that correlate at all, Lauren? You can't sit there and tell me that a dream with your teeth falling out is your body's way of telling you want to be knocked up.
What?
Yeah, because anything that comes out of the body is a wish for pregnancy.
Anything exiting the body means a woman wants to be pregnant, Lauren? So if a woman vomits out 3 fleshlights, a unicorn's butt, and Donald Trump's sex tape, that means she wants to be pregnant? Okay, whatever you say. So we've analyzed 3 dreams. You've seen kind of the flaws of the show. You've seen how boring it can be. So we're gonna stop right there, and we're not gonna go on to the 4th dream at all. I think you get my point. Celebrity Nightmares Decoded could have been an interesting show. It is kind of an interesting concept, but just so many things fall short. The host herself, Lauren Lawrence, has a ridiculous name, but on top of that, she doesn't have the amount of charisma or personality that you'd expect a TV show host to bring. And a show like this really needs a good host with charisma and personality because, to be honest, when you have celebrities that are not really well known, or if they are well known, they were most famous like 20 years ago, they're way outdated. These are C-list celebrities, like at best. I feel like season 3's had Gilbert Godfrey in one of the episodes. He was probably the most well-known and like relevant person in the entire show's history. So when you have not well-known actors and actresses that can have clout and pull in viewers because they want to see like, I don't know, Chris Pratt and have him talk about his dreams, you need a host with a lot of like drive and charisma, someone very interesting to bring personality to the show and like keep viewers enthralled. And on top of that, if you're not gonna get really famous celebrities, at least get people who have had like super weird and interesting dreams. Like the dreams just felt way too realistic and boring, like very bland nightmares. Why can't they have a celebrity that like had a dream that they were like a Ferris wheel and that they had cotton candy like sprouting out of their freaking like carts, and then they transformed into a whale and built a rocket ship and flew into the sun. And lastly, it was the reenactments of the dreams. You know, the only one that really felt a little bit surrealist was the Jeremy Jackson one that I talked about. The other two just felt too grounded in reality. Dreams are very fluid and blurry, and you don't really remember them super well, and everything just blends together. But we see everything as pretty static and like of this world in the reenactments. You know, they should have used more like, I don't know, maybe animation or more CGI, or just like recreate something that feels like a dream. Not like, you know, a haunting, something you'd find in like, you know, an episode about people being haunted. The fact that Lauren Lawrence didn't even make it to the end of the first season, I feel like it doesn't even have to do with her work. It just has to do with the fact that her personality and her like charisma, it didn't fit for television. So I'm not really saying that she's bad at her job. It's just that I don't think she really has what it takes to be a television host. And I think that's why I haven't seen any episodes without her, because it's not Celebrity Nightmares Decoded without the Lauren Lawrence experience, if you know what I mean. It's clear that after the first season, the producers kind of realized that this show wasn't worth throwing a lot of resources at, as the last two seasons, 2 and 3, only had one episode to their name. In fact, I'm not even sure why they had a second season in the first place, because the show never really drew that big of an audience, and, you know, there was never anything to warrant it coming back, as there wasn't any audience there in the first place to make it worth revitalizing an already dead show. Actually, if you go online right now and search the show on Google, it doesn't even have a poster that comes up with the name of the show. You know that a show had like no significance to society and no good impact when you Google the show and like hardly any info comes up about it. Hell, if you go on YouTube and look up season 1, it's completely available with full episodes, and funnier than that, each of those uploads has no more than 250 views, which is worse than even some of my uploads. If you type in the name of the show into the YouTube search bar, it doesn't even come up as a recommended search option. How can it get even more pathetic than that? If you got even B-list celebrities, a super charismatic host, and more production quality that went into recreating the dreams, you would have a show with some potential that might actually be worth watching. But I think from what we've seen today alone, I think it's pretty clear why nobody gave a fuck about this show.